I'm going to live in the same, I have a huge apartment, but it's not the greatest condition, because I've been always so scared of the landlord, right? And this time I'm going, you know what? If I'm going to go down, I'm going to take the landlord down with me, in terms legally or somehow. It might work, it might not. But then I took pictures of my floor before and after. I took pictures of my sink before and after. I took pictures of the door before and after. And it was like, great. I mean, I was so happy. And then it's like, nothing like that ever happened. I never used an email as a tool against a landlord. And I never knew.
How did you complain before? How did you complain if you had problems, like how did you approach the landlord before?
Before, how would I approach the landlord? I wouldn't complain. I was too scared to complain because I was rent control. So I tolerated everything.
Okay.
I just tolerated everything, so like until,
Why did you tolerate?
Because I was scared of the landlord or whatever. I don't know why I did, right? Plus, I'm a little bit of a hoarder, so that kind of puts me in a bad shape too, right? So that's kind of like, but now I'm not a hoarder, right? Because I cleaned up after I lost my job. I started cleaning up, and I had plenty of time, and I spent the whole month of April de-hoarding, and I got rid of 80% of my items. So it's a lot better. And, so far I've caught up with the rent, due to I sold lots of items. I sold some collectibles I had, alcohol I had, what else? Baseball cards I had, not baseball cards, basketball cards I had, etc. So, and I was in a bad, I've been unemployed for over 4 months now. So it's been quite the mind screw up because I've never been unemployed more than a month, right? In the last 30 years, I've never been unemployed more than a month. So for me to be unemployed more than a month I've been unemployed since Friday, March 13th. That was my last day of work.
Wow.
Saturday, I haven't worked since Saturday, March 14th. All right, so it's been a very trying time. And
yes.
And it's got me like, I can't stand this COVID-19. I hate this crap. I think it's a bunch of baloney, but, right now everybody's brainwashed. So I'm like, okay, we got to wear masks, blah, 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 blah. I was like, people have these they die of respiratory distress, but it's all because they don't have vitamin A and vitamin D. You can look up vitamin A on the National Institute of Health and how it's important to lung health, and vitamin D, et cetera, and zinc, right?
Yeah, I've heard about that too.
So I'm going, this is just like, whatever. I'm not really worried about COVID, at all. I have zero worries about it, whether it's going to kill me, and even though I'm older. But what I'm worried about is the unemployment will kill me, right, as a result of COVID, and and the lack of my unemployment checks being delayed, right? So unemployment is factor one, and factor two is my unemployment checks. Otherwise, I'd be sitting pretty. I wouldn't be caring about this COVID, right? If I had a job, wouldn't care one bit about COVID, right? It's like, so it's like shutting down the economy. I think it's the wrong move, right? And whatever. I don't think, wearing masks on the buses is too much. Wearing mask at stores is too much. I'm just like, this is not a real pandemic. It's all it is just a panic, right? But I don't know. If you look at the people who die, it's always the minorities that are dying, right? And plus the older folks, and then there's a lot of I looked at the New York nurse, there's a New York nurse, Erin something. She did an expose, but anyway, I'll get off topic, whatever.
It's okay, don't worry. Yeah. we can talk a little bit more about the pandemic. But yeah, we'll get to my faster questions. I want to know if during this 25 years, if you and your neighbors have had problems with the common areas, like the hallways or the stairs. I don't know if there are stairs.
Yes.
Or yes. Okay.
Yes.
What were they, and what happened?
Well, because the landlord didn't want us to put nice tables outside our backyard, so we had to get rid of those. And then we had to we had other stuff that we put in the backyard, and they didn't like that, so we had to get rid of that. And then we had used also the balconies to store bicycles. Landlord didn't like that. What other common areas? Yeah, just
parking
the backyard. Yeah, what's that?
Parking areas? Or
the parking area. I think the parking area. We one of the tenants got rid of some mattresses that were brand new, and they were storing it for a little bit and until somebody picked them up, and landlord was mad about that. But that's about it. I mean, so that's about it.
So you mentioned that you've gone through the 25 years living there, 3 different owners, right?
Yeah.
I mean, tell me more about, like, are you sure? Like, I want to know, like, how do you know that they are the actual landlords? Then.
Okay, so the first owners were Henry and Hilda Bittman, and there were a couple that lived in like 6-8 blocks away from here in Beverly Hills, and they lived in a house, so it was good, and they were cool. I mean, but they were like, you know what? We're going to raise the rent every year, like 4 or 5%. Just expect that. So I was like, not a problem. He goes, there's never going to be a year that you're not going to have the rent raise. I goes, okay, fine. But they were pretty good about it. And so I was like, okay. And then after that, it was passed to Matthew and Beth. Beth Bittman was their daughter. So basically, because the old couple, the old lady died of brain cancer, and then the other guy needed a caretaker, so he just gave it to his daughter to deal with it. So Beth and Matthew were reluctant landlords. They didn't like it, so they put the property up for sale. And there was a bidding war because 6 units were up. They initially put the 6 units way back in 2014, I believe.
Okay.
Or 2018, I guess. It was for 1.5, and there was a bidding war, and it ended up selling for 1.8 million, right? I heard there are like 26, 27 bidders going for it. Then the current landlord is the secret landlord. He's a multimillionaire. He's a Persian guy. Not all of the handymen have been told not to say who the owner is, and I've asked them over the years, last 4 or 5 years, and they're Baba Ganoush or whatever. No, can't say, whatever. It's like, okay, so this is, of all the landlords, the first landlord was not secretive, the second landlord was not secretive, the third landlord extremely secretive, right?
Oh, that's
but I know,
weird.
Yeah, they're extremely secretive, right? And then, but I do know when I look on their website, it goes, Alcott Luxury Investments Limited or Orange Luxury Investments. They own multiple properties, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can see on the website. It's like, okay, so they own all they do is buy 6 units to 10 unit buildings and just jack up the rents, right? And invest in them, right? So all they do is buy units that are between 4 to 10 units, right? And that's all they do. They don't buy big buildings. So they're very, very successful, man. And I know the office is based out of Commerce, California, but, that's where the office is. But I've never been to conferences so far, but